What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In this video I wanted to bring you a quick kind of guide and tutorial on how to clean out your server. This is my home server that I've had for about 2 years now. I'm just going to go through on what I do to clean it out. I usually clean it out every 6 months, but I've actually been a little bit behind, as you'll probably be able to tell as we get into this thing, how dirty it is. But this applies to most of your electronics out there when you go to clean them out or do anything like that with them. So the first thing I do is obviously turn the power off. And you should probably have yourself grounded with some type of grounding wire, but I do not. So I have to unplug it. So you usually have a power and then an Ethernet cable here. So you got to do that. As you can see, there is a decent amount of crud there on the back. So this is your general 4-bay NAS. This would apply to the same other NAS. Generally, I would take and put like a towel down, but this table needs cleaned anyway, so I'm not going to mess with that. So the first thing I do is I usually take all the drive bays out and just kind of stack them up. I usually try to keep them also in order of the way they go in. I don't know if that matters, but it's just something I've always done. So the first thing I do is I will go ahead and clean the drives out. And I just have, you can use compressed air. I just have this is actually like a lens cleaner if you need to clean off the front of your lens element. I literally just go through and blow everything off. Just kind of inspect the drive as I'm doing it. This actually doesn't look too bad. Usually I wouldn't blow the dust onto the floor, but we are in our basement and the floor needs cleaned anyways, so I will do this, then vacuum afterwards. So sometimes you have to really kind of get the air into these little areas here. And then I also have a little microfiber cloth where I will just go in. I don't know if this is actually the way you're supposed to do it, but I've been doing it this way for a while and haven't had any issues. So once I blow all that out, I'll just go in and kind of wipe things off. And then you got to pay attention to kind of like the little crevices here. So there's a decent amount of dust in there. I also recommend doing this outside if you have a place to do it, but it's like 100 degrees here and really humid. And there's dogs. All of our neighbors have dogs that bark. So that's kind of annoying. So that's how you clean drives out. And basically you'll do that for each one. I'm not going to show you how to do every single one because they're generally about the same. And then you go to your actual server. This can be the part where each server is going to be a little bit different. You're also going to have, I have these 2 bays down here that have, this one's empty. Usually I'll start at the bottom, but this has my SSD cache in it, so I'll just go and blow that out. Even though this doesn't have any moving parts, I still go ahead and do this just so it's, I mean, if you have it apart and you only do it every 6 months, you might as well do as thorough of a job as you can. And then just wipe this off, because you may not be able to tell in the video, but there's already dust everywhere. And then once I have that on, these things have like little filters in them. So I'll just blow these out. This is actually what gets clogged the most, is these like little teeny tiny filters here. And this is where you can run into cooling issues. So if you don't clear these out, you're not going to get any cooling in there. This NAS is not hit very hard where it probably has any issues with cooling. But if you're doing like a lot of data and stuff, I mainly use this for photos because it's a cheaper alternative than put them in the cloud for years. So usually I do that, and then I will usually leave these off as I'm cleaning the rest of it. And then you can see kind of here, just blow this off, and you may not be able to tell, but there's dust all over the table. And then usually I will try to go to the inside and blow. This little Synology part is essentially like a filter, but there's nowhere to do it at. So I will just continue to blow this off the best I can. And do the same thing to the other side. Again, this may not be the actual way that you're supposed to do this, but I've been doing it this way forever, and it's cheaper. Don't have to buy anything. I'm not a huge fan of compressed air. I just never have been, so I've used this. If you're into photo or video or anything, this is a handy little tool that doesn't cost very much, just to clean stuff off. It can be used to clean off your sensor too, but I would not recommend that. But if you're in a pinch or something. So this is where it gets kind of gross. So you have the back fans here. So what I usually do is I'll do the same thing as before, where I will blow from in here. just to get what I can on the outside. I probably should have done this outside now that I'm thinking about it, because it's a lot dirtier than I thought because I forgot to clean it recently. I'm hoping you can see this in the video. So now I'm going to have to clean the desk off later, but that's fine. I don't use this desk down here very often, so it gets pretty dirty just because it sits. So then blow it like that, and then I will just go in and basically do the same thing. As you can see here, if I can get all this up, it is a decent amount here, so I will go get rid of that. And then I'll just start with the inside. So I'll just kind of blow stuff out from here. Kind of try to get it to where it's coming and falling out. But it is crazy how much dust you get on it. This is actually partly covered up because it's in, as you can see, if you saw where I turned it off at, you can see it's partly covered up. So I'm kind of surprised it actually gets that much dust in it. And our house isn't very dusty. We recently serviced or had our HVAC system replaced. We have like the big filters, like the 20 by 25 by 4 inch. So we don't usually get a lot of dust, even having 2 kids in our house. I think having a bigger filter for the furnace makes a big difference. But that's essentially what I do. And I make sure to try to get the power plug, Ethernet cables, USB spot there. And that's usually it. Sometimes I will go and just take the cloth and just go in here and wipe any debris off here. Again, this may not be the best way to do this or the recommended way. I don't think there's any recommended way that I could find for the server on their website anyways, but I'll just go in and blow things off. And that's why I find it's best to blow through here, just because it all kind of falls out through the bottom, and then you're not going to get it all, or at least I've never found a way to get it all, but I figure you're doing a lot better than you probably were before. And kind of look at the inside again, see what it's like. Sometimes these rails that it sits on can get a decent amount in there. But overall, it looks a lot better than it did. There's also a little spot right here. I think you can put more RAM in it. I can't see that because I have the focus turned to just manual. But I don't have any RAM in there, but I would have cleaned that out also. And that's it. Then finish off the other drives and put them back in, and then you're done. So not a very difficult process. It's easier if you do it more often than let it sit for a while, but as you can see through it again. The back fans look pretty clean. All of these had stuff in them too. The Ethernet, USB-C, or USB, and the power cable, so I do that. And underneath, looks a lot cleaner than it did before. So I'm going to start by putting these little doodads back on. And that's it. That's how I usually clean this out. Oop, I forgot. There's also a little filter over here. I think that's probably the most important part, is making sure these filters don't get clogged. This one comes off, but I don't have any nails to get it off. I don't even know what it's for. But that's it. That way it stays nice and cool, clean. You don't have any issues down the line with things overheating. So yeah, just hold it like this and then just blow the inside out. Nothing too fancy or probably professional, but that's it. So that's how I clean out my server. Hopefully that helps somebody out if you've never done it before. I was terrified when I did it at first, but I've had this thing for a while and I've been cleaning this out like this for a long time. As you can see, I was sitting here playing around and more debris fell off, so I'll go back in here and re-blow everything off. But I was terrified I was going to break something. I have had this thing for a while and not had any issues with it, so must work whatever I'm doing. So that's it. If you have any comments, questions, leave them below and I will get back to you. And have a good day, week, weekend, whatever it is out there, and I'll see you guys next time.